Greetings, my educational colleagues. My name is Lydia Whitehead, and I'm a graduate student in the College of Education at Grand Canyon University. My goal is to achieve my second master's degree. My concentration is in curriculum and instructional design. After I have achieved this goal, I would like to begin working in the K 12 administrative area, assisting teachers with the resources that they need to better educate their students, thus preparing them for college, career, and citizenship. Differentiation is a method of teaching that allows all students to learn in a variety of ways. It is a structure for constructive instruction which involves a diverse community of students taking in new information in spite of their cultural backgrounds, language differences, and socioeconomic levels, genders, or differing abilities. Each student's needs are met with different experiences and tasks. In order to be successful in differentiation, teachers must know the needs of each individual student, as well as they need to personalize the instruction that their students are receiving. For example, if one were to imagine the one room schoolhouse of yesteryear, there are several students that are critically thinking, receiving content, and processing the knowledge that they're acquiring. According to Rob, differentiating instruction means observing and understanding student differences and similarities, and then using this information to plan instruction. The way that differentiation relates to brain based learning is it focuses on how students learn. It is further explained by Rose and Meyer when they indicate that neuroscience shows distinct differences in the ways that students' brains receive, strategically process, and emotionally relate to content, instructional delivery, and evaluation. One size does not fit all when it comes to instruction. Therefore, for effective classroom instruction, teachers need curriculum that encompasses a wide variety of student needs. Further, Rosenmeyer cite universal design learning as a distinctive way for curriculum developers to design instruction that acknowledges the learning brain. Likewise, Eagleton speaks of this paradigm for instruction, learning, evaluation, and curriculum development as a way to focus on tailoring the curriculum to suit the learner rather than the reverse. Curriculum designers that put emphasis on providing both a variable and flexible educational design uh, give students ways to participate and engage in such an educational program. In so doing, they are accommodating student needs while stimulating the learning context for the entire class. Curriculum that is fluid will allow educators to determine whole class needs in addition to whatever the standards may be. All of this reflects on my professional setting because after spending years in a classroom trying to meet my student needs while teaching the Michigan Common Core, what I found is that I was neglecting many of my students. I was not meeting their learning needs by using traditional teaching methods. I relied on special needs teachers to guide me toward what I thought would help my students, but often they were not helping my students, but rather hindering them. They would frequently give the students answers or simple memorization tasks, or they did not have the same expectations that I had. My goal was to make my class challenging, motivating, educational, and engaging all at the same time. Although we had an access to a variety of resources, none of the curriculum truly met student needs. My change in my basic assumptions came when my administrator allowed me to create a research writing class from the ground up. I structured the class from the foundation of research to the creation and presentation of a research paper. Students were exposed to a variety of research methods and resources that encompass the use of technology. Some students used their computers to watch videos or listen to audio sources that dealt with the subject that they were researching, while others learned how to use Google Scholar to search for scholarly written materials. There are many ways to bring differentiated brain-based learning into my professional setting. The first thing that I would consider would be making the learning student-centered. I took a course in professional development with Penny Keitel, an English teacher from Maine. She put emphasis on creating classroom libraries with engaging content that allowed students to choose reading materials. As a teacher, I created my own classroom library and found that most, if not all, students enjoyed spending time reading books that they found interesting. Curriculum needs to be structured so that students may motivate themselves to learn. Although there may still be a main classroom book that is covered, students should still be allowed to discover subjects that interest them based on their cultural background and reading level. Additionally, to assist students in developing critical thinking skills, curriculum that focuses on prior knowledge influences their conceptual growth and change. Students add to their existing knowledge then with conceptual growth. They make corrections of errors in their existing knowledge. This existing knowledge serves as a scaffold between what is known and unknown so that connections may be drawn. Dunn uses a quote from American behavioral neurologist Kenneth Heilman when he said that real world problem solving allows the brain to do what the brain does best: make decisions that promote creative, meaningful, and productive judgment. Modeling and organizing projects and activities that require higher level thinking should be your main instructional goal when developing thinking skills in students, quote unquote. When students have curriculum that allows them to produce both answers and questions, they make connections between what they are learning and are aided in developing the ability to problem solve. Project-based learning aids students in becoming alert to the world around them. Again, the more that they are challenged, the more that the neural synapses are working to create connections between what is known, what is unknown, and how they're both related. According to Crawford, there's a communication network that is comprised of many facets, which include recognition, strategic, and affective, which all function differently and as a group as students learn. As such, there are a variety of types of engagement. One that can be embedded in an instructional curriculum is that of emotional engagement. In a professional setting, curriculum should be structured around how the students would feel about what they're learning. Oftentimes, students are not given the opportunity to learn about subjects that are culturally relevant. As a curriculum designer, I would want to create a flexible instructional resource that reflects on the mindset of learners. For instance, I will work closely with the resources that can be found that deal with the Holocaust. If the grade level was that of high school, I would focus on reading materials that had information on characters or real-world people who were in the same age group as the students were. For instance, beyond having students read Night or the Diary of Anne Frank, there are other historical sources such as information on the White Rose Resistance and Sophie and Hans Scholl. In the current age of resistance, learners are leaning toward having their own voice. Learning about students who found ways to resist reaches an emotional and political level on which many students may relate. In summation, as a curriculum designer, my goal is always to find ways to engage and motivate learners while considering how they learn. Likewise, giving teachers the resources that they require to enable their students to benefit from their instruction, and by developing instructional strategies that aid students in developing critical thinking skills, I am affecting students now and in their future endeavors. My efforts will help prepare them for college, career, and as future world citizens. Thank you for listening to my video clip.